Time to bring you the second part of our interview segment. Now, our focus is on the USSD service charge saga. It's been quite a back and forth. Now, since October last year, 2019, I beg your pardon, there's been quite a dispute between telecom operators and Nigerian banks over who should pay for USSD service sessions. The USSD, known as Unstructured Supplementary Service Data, is a service which is controlled by mobile network operators used to provide mobile financial services to banks and other financial institutions in cell phones at very low cost, without requiring access to the user's SIM card or internet. Now, the prolonged dispute between the telcos and the banks, which led to the telcos owing the banks as much as the sum of 42 billion naira, was put to rest after the federal government, in a stakeholder meeting, seemed to try to broker some peace with the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, the Nigerian Communication Commission, the Central Bank of Nigeria, mobile network operators, and also financial services, as well as providers, agree that the Nigerian telco will have to charge all deposit money banks and other CBN licensed financial service providers token of about 6 naira 98 kobo flat fee, which the banks will collect directly from customers' bank accounts. Now, this means effective from 16th of March, which was just last month, Nigerian mobile banking users are expected to pay 6 naira 98 kobo flat fee every time they use the USSD banking service, as the new resolution will put an end to the previous practice of charging on a per session basis for USSD transactions. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to bring some more insight into the dispute resolution mechanism between the telcos and the banks over the USSD service charge, I have joining me in the studio the president of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers, Mr. Diolu Ogubanjo. Good to have you on the show this afternoon.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
It's been quite a back and forth we've had so far, and I'm sure you have your own opinion as to the lines of communication and what's acceptable or not with regards to the dispute we've seen between the banks and telco operators. But now, with the disconnection of one of the telecom service providers, MTN Nigeria, from Thursday night up until the weekend, and then we saw the intervention. What do you make of all of this move? What's acceptable and what's not?
Thank you very much. I mean, the banks stopping the usage of the platform that doesn't belong to them for us to charge our phones is totally condemnable. The banks do not have any regard at all for their customers. Otherwise, under the right to know and the right to be informed, which is a basic right the consumer has, the banks should, even if they have any dispute with the mobile network operator, they should at least give them 72 hours. Then, in that case,
notice?
Yes, 72 hour notice that consumers, or our customers, this is what we want to do. It is just because there's a dispute, and therefore, in the next 72 hours, this is what we want to do.
What do you think was the biggest tick on the part of the banks?
You see, the banks just took us for a ride and think we have no rights at all and no regard for their customers. They just switch it on. I mean, they just switch it off. Very annoying. I mean, in a country where we have some rules, I mean, why should they just disengage people like that? And it's about 40% of the total recharge of consumers comes through charging, using our bank accounts. They just stop that abruptly. That is rude. They need to apologize to Nigerian consumers. Otherwise, we will take some action for what they have done.
But when you fault the line of communication now, the banks clearly have their own stance as to why they had to take that action. For example, with the like of MTN Nigeria, they said from 4% to bringing it down to 2.5%. That also affects their own operational cost, and it's unbearable, unprofitable for them. Do you understand that? I'm
sorry. I don't know what is unprofitable about. They are actually using the banks, the telcos platform. They don't generate the platform. It is the telcos. So if they now want to negotiate downwards, that shouldn't concern the telecom subscriber. All we want is, look, inform us, this is what we want to do, so that we'll get prepared. I mean, that is not their core business. In fact, they are chasing a lot of Nigerians out of business. By doing that, I mean, 40% of the totality of recharges in Nigeria are done through our bank accounts.
Thankfully, we had the intervention of the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, as well as the CBN governor, also trying to just make sure that we have some truths. And one of the resolutions that was reached was the fact that we had the announcement of the 6 naira 98 kobo service charge on all USSD transactions. This is replacing the per billion session we had previously. How do you think this is also going to help or foster broader financial inclusion?
Well, to some extent, I think because it's a totality now.
Having at the back of our mind the 42 billion naira debt.
Why should it be the consumer or the telecom subscriber that will always suffer anytime they have disagreements? I mean, you see, the minister and the NCC should actually look at this again. The banker, they should actually engage the bankers committee. In fact, the CBN governor, they should be able to engage each other so that at least multiple taxations here and there, you pay for this, you pay for that, and here we are. Telecoms is no longer getting profitable.
Do you think we're still going to see more twists and turns as we are waiting for a final resolution to all of this back and forths?
Well, apparently they did say it was going to start March 16. We are waiting. The moment, because we don't have a locus until we are charged. The moment they charge us, I'm sorry, we'll go to court. It is not right for settling their dispute, and it is just the the consumer that will suffer. All I'm saying is, for now, they said effective date is March 16. Apparently, they've not started, but I have not seen any of such billings. However, the moment they bill me, and we hold a meeting, and we review it, and it's not to the interest of the consumer, we will challenge it in court.
Let's now talk about a bigger picture for the telecom sector as well as our financial space as well. What new developments, what sort of synergy would you like to also see? Because when you look at advanced climes, there are new services that are being delivered, there are new opportunities being created. And if we have this sort of stifling environment, if I may use that word, how do you think this would also limit the growth or the forecast that we would see in the telecommunications sector?
Thank you very much. You see, there are so many opportunities. Opportunities are bound in the telecom sector. It's just that the players, particularly the big players like the banks, the telcos, are actually not submitting to each other. But they should have the interest of the consumer at heart. Whatever that will benefit the consumer, they should please forget about ego, profits, and all that. Let them at least look at minimal profits or marginal profits, because telecoms is now becoming, I mean, your phone is a companion. You can't, if I lose my phone, for instance, a lot of
many things are ground to a halt.
Precisely. So it's more than a companion. It is our office, our virtual office, is a companion, it's everything to us. So a lot of things should be developed by the players to ensure that consumers have a lot of benefits from their phones.
And are you tabling all of these with regards to the engagements we have seen so far?
Well, at the moment, the climate is not right. It is issues today, a USSD code tomorrow, a reduction of this or that. So maybe by the time they are settled, we probably will engage them.
And how soon do you think we're going to have a final resolution? Because if we have this issue still going back and forth, do you see another suspension of USSD services over this debt?
they dare not do any suspension, because that will mean a lot of issues and problems with the telecoms consumer. However, I know that the Minister Pantami and Professor Dambata of the NCC will definitely take charge of this. I mean, they're on top of it. In fact, as I'm speaking to you, there are meetings that are going on today as I'm speaking to you. So I'm sure it won't degenerate up to that level.
And the mantra, consumer first, how critical is this for services across the banking and telecom sector? Because one of the biggest concerns of the average Nigerian consumer is the fact that we have this, there's a guise of charges that keep on coming. The average Nigerian believes that, well, they just have to pay the brunt or bear the brunt for any other innovation or charge or any other activity. Anything that goes wrong, the customer has to pay, simply put. How do you think we now have to re-navigate or re-narrate this situation and then have the consumers believe that their interests are actually at hand? Consumers first. How do we now embrace this mantra from the part of telcos to the financial services sector and even the bigger picture, the entirety of the Nigerian economy? Consumer first.
Thank you very much. Hitherto, by the first term of Professor Dambata, he used to, be very serious with organizing some telecoms consumer parliaments, telecoms consumer outreach programs, in which stakeholders, they come together through the NCC, and we talk at length issues. Operators also come. NCC representative, a lot of consumer representatives were always there. But this, in the last 1 or 2 years, there hasn't been such. So hopefully a number of things will fall in line the moment all these things come to place again. So hopefully the NCC, particularly the ministers seem to be interested these days. I think both the ministry and the NCC should ensure that they engage stakeholders from time to time to ensure that there's a way forward for the telecoms industry.
We have to have a final resolution, and according to your words, we are all keeping our fingers crossed. We just want to hear what the final word is, and then all of this back and forth is just put behind us. We have much more serious things to have to deal with. Mr. Diolu Ogubanjo, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, the President of the National Association of Telecom Subscribers. Good to have you, and many thanks for spending your afternoon with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having me.